Now, there will be many people who will argue with that, and they will argue from the viewpoint that when General Buhari took over, things were quite bad.
Then they became worse.
Well, that's your statement.
No, it's not my statement, it's fact.
We went into a recession.
Because he does not know what economic management is and does not have the
But he's
team.
the one who still pulled us out of that recession.
We are not out of recession.
Well, the Statistics Bureau and the federal government have said we are. They said so in 2016.
Do you believe them?
It's not for me to believe them or not. They're the people in a position to tell us.
Well, I am also in a position to tell you, because I can tell you that recession is tied to quality of life. Whatever your authorities tell you, if your quality of life does not improve, then you stand deceived. You stand hoodwinked. Everywhere else in the world, when they are in recession, their living standards fall. When they exit recession, their living standards improve. And I am telling you that the Naira is our life. The Naira is our purchasing power parity. The Naira equates us with the rest of the world. Here comes a government that wipes away 60% of our worth. If you were worth 100, now you are worth 40.
But there's an explanation for that. I was given an explanation.
We don't want explanation.
No, because
we want service.
It had nothing to do with the government.
Yeah.
It had to do with, especially if you're talking about the exchange rate.
Yeah.
It had to do with the value of our foreign exchange reserves, which dropped drastically as at the time General Buhari took over. That coincided with a drop in the prices of oil, which is our main export.
You're giving an answer to yourself.
No, I'm not. I'm saying that.
Let me answer you.
You are disagreeing that we're not out of recession,
We're not.
that when you take the value of the Naira as a point, that could point to that. I'm saying to you that on this seat that you sat, have been previous guests before you to whom I put that precise question. And amongst them have been those who told me that that's directly linked to our foreign reserves. And that as our foreign reserves have improved, as indeed they have, the value of the Naira has appreciated. You will concede, won't you? That
I won't concede.
You will
because I
concede
have my points.
The dollars dropped, the Naira dropped to as much as 500 Naira to a dollar. But it has since picked and has stabilized around.
Can I answer you?
Yes, please go on. I just said that you
just hold
you
on.
this background.
Let me tell you. January 2016, or thereabouts, President Buhari falls ill and was out of Nigeria for 100 days. Then we had an acting President Yemi Oshibanjo. When President Buhari was flown out, the Naira was at 520. When friends and family were making 200 Naira per dollar, because the difference between the autonomous and the central was then in excess of 200 Naira. Now here's the catch. Acting President Oshibanjo, whom I like to think as somebody who has lots of sense, whom I like to think as somebody who listens to his people, and his people happen to be the ones who pay tuition fees outside of Nigeria, must have hammered it onto him. This cannot go on. If Buhari's people don't care and they don't pay tuition fees outside, ours do, and education is our life. You must go back, and he's a responsive acting president. He changed the formula of how dollars, forex, were allocated. Instead of privileged few relatives and friends, it now went into the system proper. That was responsible for the drop from 520 to 365. Now it has fallen from 365 to about 363, sometimes 360. If you ask me why, it is because of the gale of defection, it is because of, and it is because of Ekiti elections that just held, that so much dollars were pumped out there. Now, mathematically speaking, the value, the price of, international price of crude oil, when Buhari took over and was complaining, and that because of that, the dollar had to rise. Juxtapose that to the international price of crude oil today, you will find out that the price has nearly tripled. But in relative terms, from 2015 till today, the naira has fallen 60%. So mathematically, it does not make sense. And let me tell you, every leader should manage the confidence in the society. I split society into economy and communities. What the Buhari government did was to dissipate confidence.
How so?
Because those who were funding the autonomous market found it necessary now to hold back their money.
Yes, because
Simple.
because the arbitrage is no longer there.
No. Arbitrage is when you have 200 naira per dollar, not when you have 2 or 3 naira per dollar.
Then what's the explanation as to why they are not funding it?
Because they were afraid of Buhari's tactics. They were afraid of Buhari's government. Buhari's government did not give confidence to investors, did not give confidence to Nigerian expatriates abroad who are sending billions and billions to Nigeria. They had to cut it. Interest rates were not improving, and the moment fear set in, and notice that this is a government who cannot manage fear. This is a government that cannot manage the people's sensibilities. One fear sparked off another. So the fear of Nigerians who were selling $1,000, $2,000 daily, and you have hundreds of them funding the market, felt, look, if indeed the dollar is going to fall and we can see it falling, it's better to hold it back. That holding back scared investors who otherwise would go into Nigerian portfolio investment. The foreign exchange fluctuation risk heightened. This is what happened. So it is critically important you read the gestures in the economy right. If you don't, the wrong information will continue to be passed out there. I cannot claim to come out here and tell you new thing you've never heard before, but I'm in that business. I will tell you what the truth is. And the truth is that we have lost 60% of our net worth as a country, simply because we had a government that cannot manage our economy.
At that point, because you used the word fear and scare.
Yeah.
Now, those two words are used in relation to another subject, which was also a plank of this administration's campaign when it wanted office in 2014, 2015.
Yeah.
And that's security. How do you think they've done in the last 3 years? I mean, take, for example, let's start with the battle against the insurgency in the Northeast, Boko Haram principally. How have they done in that regard?
They have done very, very badly.
Why do you say that?
Thank you. There are specific technical points in winning a battle, and there are measurable outcomes in winning a war. I will use two clear examples. When the Nigerian Civil War ended, it was instant. The very next day, you could feel, you could breathe freedom and liberty. Brothers who were at war were embracing each other the next day. They were being readmitted back into the Nigerian society with open arms. This is not happening in the case of insurgency. Where are the perpetrators? At large. Where are their equipment, their weapons? At large. The territory claimed to be seized. Is government effectively holding that territory? No. The internally displaced persons who lived in those territories, have they been returned? And when they are returned, has their life gone back to normal? No. So in all this I have listed, I'm telling you, no, 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 no. Abuja is at least 10 to 15% more in population because of IDPs. You see them on the road. In fact, I have lived in an area where in the last 10 years, I have never seen street hawking. In the last 3 years, there are days when I'm going to work, and the traffic there, I count between 80 to 100 destitutes every day that I pass by. Even at night, even at midnight, you count destitutes. Thank you, Buhari. This is what you've done to us.